Do know, Adrian, what's up next is Hidden Gem.
There we go.
Your segment where you're going to break down, as we call it on this show, Son of Sekhmat says you're on fire. I say you're dropping knowledge bombs, What'd you say last week? Drink from my tree or something? Like that? Yeah.
Sounds like something I would say.
Yeah, definitely something you would say. I would say this. Everyone should subscribe right now, and they should also go to onlycomicsmerch.com so they can dress like us,
There you go.
But anyways, who do we have on Hidden Gem this week?
All right, this week. So we're going to flip back over to DC.
All right. Wait, what's DC? What is that? What is DC?
I don't know. Anyway, I was actually going to go with a different comic book. I was actually going to go to like a Dark Horse or something like that because there's some interesting characters over there as well. Yeah. But this week is DC. Now, this character has been around for a minute. Very interesting. Not like a Batman, not a always running character, but definitely has been in more than most, right? So this week is Lobo.
Okay.
And Lobo is a first of all, he's from a race of people called as Zarnians, right? Which is an immortal race. Now, the interesting thing about it is, I forget if it's the entire race or just Lobo, but at some point they're mortal, right? So they got kicked out of heaven and hell, so they can't die, like literally cannot die because there's nowhere for them to go. So Lobo, he was just a regular citizen at one point. And at some point, he decides to like wipe out the rest of his race, right? He created this thing, these stingers or whatever. They went around, killed everybody. So now he's the only one of his race that exists. Matter of fact, the whole world of Zarnia is not even in DC Comics anymore. It's not even mentioned.
Okay.
So he's the single solitary. Now, the interesting thing about that is the only way that he can truly die is if he's killed by another Zarnian.
Okay.
But guess what? There's no more Zarnian, so therefore he can't die, right? So
he's immortal because of a technicality.
Pretty much. No, he's immortal because he engineered his immortality.
Okay, there you go. That's it.
by killing off everybody else.
Got it.
So Lobo is a spacefaring, basically bounty hunter.
Okay.
For coin, he'll go around and collect things, and people loves to drink and do all the wild and crazy things like regular, biker mentality. Well, and he literally has a bike, a space vehicle that he rides around on, which is interesting, which I get to in his power set, right? He's had like a pit bull kind of to tag along that's kind of like him, but then he stomps it to death in one of the episodes. So, damn. I mean, this guy is just a character, but
is he a villain or anti-hero?
It depends on what he's doing for the
moment. Day,
right?
Okay.
So, but mostly kind of a villain.
Okay.
He shows up. He's always he's like a saber-toothed Wolverine, right? He'll go and slap Superman around, which is also which we mentioned. If Juggernaut and Superman were to come together, what would happen? Yeah. Well, because Lobo is slapping Superman around, obviously Superman would get deflected, right?
Wow.
So he goes around collecting things, and he'll show up on Earth every once in a while with a cigar. I don't know how a cigar is lit in space, but he shows up with it, right? So powers. He's obviously immortal. Again, because he's kicked out of heaven and hell. That's the reason why he's immortal. He cannot die, right? So his not dying is so pronounced that he could literally reconstitute himself entirely from a drop of blood, his own blood.
Wow.
He's been ripped in half. He's had his head pulled off. He can literally, any part of his body, not only can he reconstitute himself from a drop of blood, he can also make millions of copies of himself from his blood.
Got it.
So you got that. But outside of that, he's very a lot of endurance, incredible endurance, and powerful. Like I said, he slapped Superman around. Now, if Superman were to go like Superman,
yeah,
he would probably beat him. But he has a lot of power. Now, his endurance allows him to fly around on his motorcycle through space. So if you can imagine what that is, right? So he's obviously don't need to eat, don't need to breathe, don't need to drink, all that other kind of stuff. But he drinks because he likes to drink.
Got it.
So very interesting character. He's all about himself. Very much a loner, but basically a bounty hunter on steroids. And his thing is that even though he's all about himself, he has this code, right? And basically, if he gives you his word, then that his word is his bond.
Okay.
So, a very cool character. I would like to see more of him. But the funny thing is that he hasn't been around as long as a lot of other characters.
Yeah.
He has a lot of cameos though.
Really?
He shows up. He's showing up in different animations. A lot of different comics. He's had his own comic.
Yeah.
And of course, every writer that writes him kind of differently, but still, the basics of it all is that, the immortality, the high endurance, the bounty hunter thing. Yeah. So cool character. Would like to see more of him. But I didn't know about the whole immortality. It's crazy. He's like Deadpool, right?
Yeah.
Deadpool dating death. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's like you can't go either one, so we're just going to leave you here and you just fly around and do all the crazy stuff that you do.
Gotcha.
So interesting character. Would like to see more of him.
Yeah.
Definitely. And other characters like him. I think we should do, but I think there should be more cameos of people like him or characters like him that show up and do stuff.
Is there a Marvel character that you would compare him to who he's similar to?
I mean, there's plenty of Marvel characters that, has his power sets, but I mean, but his whole dynamic, you have Immortals, right? Yeah. Wonder Woman is immortal. I'm sure she can die, right?
Okay.
Lobo is immortal, but can't die because there's nowhere for him to go, right? Wonder Woman would go to, wherever she goes.
Yeah.
There are stronger, more enduring characters in Marvel, but none of them that just, pop around the universe the way he does.
Got it.
Or has his mindset. So, the only person, his name actually means wolf.
Okay. Right?
So, the only person I would compare him to, not even on the same level, would be Wolverine.
Okay.
But mostly in attitude.
Got it. Who would win, Lobo or Wolverine?
Oh, Lobo.
Really?
Yeah. First of all, I got to
he's immortal, yeah.
Well, not only is he immortal, just tie Wolverine to his bike and take him up in space. He'll suffocate.
There you go.
There's that.
There's that. Jason Momoa pitched a Lobo movie to James Gunn.
Uh-huh.
Now, I don't know if, what came out of that, but from a look standpoint.
Perfect. That's perfection right there.
Now, that'd be two characters.
Hey, Jason Momoa, he's getting up there in age. He can probably do that character, probably do it a couple of times, and then it'll be time for him to tap out.
Then he's going to ride off into the sunset.
That's it.
On that bike. With him too. All of them.
All of them.
Wow, so another great hidden gem,
yep.
Lobo. I didn't know much about this character. I definitely didn't know about the immortality.
Right.
I always, funny you said Wolverine, because I always looked at him as like, is that like a Wolverine version, or, DC's version of Wolverine, but really not outside of just kind of some of the look, or just, like you said, he's a wolf, animalistic, but no, not at all. But yeah, dude, I would be all. Now he's not like 5'2" like Wolverine, is he?
No.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I think because he's always slapping Superman around. I think he's like a little taller than Superman.
Damn. Wow. So he's making Superman his little bitch.
Dude, it's crazy. It's like Superman is so underrated because of himself.
Right.
I mean, they obviously they're writing him this way.
Yeah.
Like the Boy Scout kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just at some point, sappy is just sappy.
Right.